Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the Frigidaire dryer rear drum bearing kit. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the high temp lubricant, the ball support, all the screws and brackets to put the kit in, and the bearing itself. The rear drum bearing kit is located in the rear of the dryer, and it's what supports the rear of the drum. The main reason to be changing it out is if the bushing has gone bad and the ball support is damaged. In order to get to the part, we have to remove the top of the dryer. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver and go around back to remove the screws. With the screws out of the way, we can take the top off. All you have to do is pull it back about a half an inch or so and lift it off the dryer and set it aside. With the top off, we can take off the access panel. It's held in by 2 Phillips screws. We're going to reach down there and take them out with our screwdriver. Once you have both screws out, you can pull the access panel out a little bit, let it drop down, and then you can pull it off the machine. With the access panel out of the way, we can remove the 2 screws that hold the bottom of the front panel onto the frame. We can disconnect these 2 wire harnesses that go to the main console. All you have to do is grab each one and press the releases and pull them apart. Once you have them both disconnected, we can feed the ends through this zip tie so we can pull them out through the front. With the wire harnesses disconnected, we're going to remove these 2 screws on each side and then 1 screw down here on each side that holds the front panel in. You want to be careful that you don't drop those down in front. If you do, we're taking the front panel off anyways, so you can get it in a minute. There's 4 retaining clips that hold the front panel on. You notice there's one right below each of the screws we just removed, and then there's one more about a foot down below each one. To release the upper panel retainers, we're going to take a putty knife and stick it through the opening between the front and the cabinet. And then we also have to lift up on this metal piece right here, because as we twist the putty knife to release that clip, we have to lift up this little locking tab. So we're going to lift up a little bit and then twist the putty knife and it should pop out. Once you have that one off, we can go do the one on the other side. You want to be careful because the lower ones will probably come out on their own. If they don't, you can use the putty knife to pop them free. But once they're free, you got to hold the panel up and support it. Once you have the panel totally off, you can set it aside. Now we're around the back side of the dryer. We're going to take off the access panel so we can remove the belt from the pulleys. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take these screws out. Once you have the screws out, you can swing the panel on its tabs and pull it out and set it aside. With the access panel out of the way, we're going to reach in and grab the idler pulley and move it towards the middle of the drum. That's going to release the tension on the belt so we can reach in and take it off the motor pulley. Now that we have the belt off the pulleys, we can take this drum support off. You're going to lift up on the drum a little bit, and then we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take the screw out. Once you have the screw out, you can pull the support out and set the drum down gently. Now we can take the drum out. We're going to use the belt to lift the rear of the drum up about 1 inch or so while we're pulling forward, and that'll pull the ball out of the bearing, and then we can use it to guide it out of the frame. If you want, you can pull the belt off here so you don't get it caught on the frame. And then we're gonna carefully pull the drum out the rest of the way. Once you have the drum out, you can set it out of the way. With the drum out of the way, we can reach in and remove the 2 screws that hold in the bearing. We're gonna use our 5/16 inch nut driver to take them out. As you're unscrewing the second screw, you can reach in the back and take the bracket off so it doesn't fall on the floor. And then you can carefully grab the whole assembly and pull it out of the dryer. Make sure you don't lose the little ball bearing. Now that we have the bearing off the back bulkhead of the dryer, we can take the ball off the back of the drum. It's held in by 3 screws. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take them out. As you take out the last one, it's probably going to fall on the floor, so get somebody to catch it or put a towel down there so it doesn't damage your floor. Reach around and hold it if the screw doesn't come out. Now that you have the ball hitch removed, we can set it aside. Here's the old rear drum bearing kit next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. On the ball hitch support, the screw holes don't come threaded, so we're going to turn it over and drive one of the old screws through all 3 holes. So when we put it on the back of the drum, it's going to be pretty easy to put those screws through. So grab one of your old screws and just drive it through each hole. It's going to be a little tight and a little hard to turn, but you should be able to get them through. Now that you have those threads cut, we can put the whole kit back in the dryer. To put the new ball support on, we're going to take a Phillips screwdriver and put one of the screws on it and put it through the top hole back here and kind of hold it there. And then we're going to reach around back and put the ball hitch on there and line it up and then tighten it down. Once you have the first screw started, you don't want to tighten it down all the way. We're going to put the other 2 in to make it easier to line them up, and then you can tighten all 3 down once you have them started. Now that we have all 3 screws in and lined up, we can go tighten them all down. Now that we have the ball hitch installed on the drum, we can put the rest of the kit together in the dryer. With the rest of the kit on the back of the dryer, we can put it together and get it installed. First thing we're going to do is open up the lubricant. We're going to use just a little bit of it to put the ball onto the back of the bearing so it'll hold it in place as we flip it up. So once you have that punctured, we'll set it back down for a second, and then we're going to put the bearing together. First thing we're going to do is put the bearing onto the bracket. Remember, this is where the ball goes in, so you have to line that up. Then we're going to put the screws in to hold it together. Then we're going to take a little dab of grease, not a whole lot, just a little bit, and put it right here so we can set the ball bearing on it. And when we push this into place, it won't fall off. There you go, now it won't fall out. And then we're going to take this bracket that goes on the back of the dryer, and we're going to hold it on there just like this so these little bumps are out, and then we're going to use our 5/16 nut driver to tighten it all together and hold it in place. If you want, before you try to put the assembly in, you can have your 5/16 nut driver already on there, and that way you can just put the screws in once you have it lined up. Once you have one started, you can push the other one through and make sure it's lined up with the bracket and tighten that one down. and then go back and tighten the first one down. Now that we have the bearing assembly attached to the rear of the dryer, we can put the lubricant into the bearing. All you have to do is reach down here, line it up, and squeeze it in there. Once you have the bearing filled in, then we can put the drum back in. Once you have the drum in front of the dryer, the same way that we took it out, you're going to use the belt to help lift it in, and you're going to guide it through these little cutouts so we can mount it properly. Once you get to this point, you're going to have to let it go and then get it past this part. Then you can use the belt again to help lift it up. Now that we have the drum halfway into the dryer, we want to look down and make sure that the ball is going to go into the bearing. You have to slowly push it back, and you're going to have to lift up on it a little bit to get it to drop down into the bearing. And then we can give the drum a few spins to distribute that grease around. Now that we have the drum in, we can come around to the other side, and you want to make sure that the belt is lined up with the wear mark where it goes, and make sure that the ribs are down. Once you have that lined up, we're going to put in the front support. You're going to have to lift it up a little bit and line the support up, and then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to put the screw in. With the drum support in place, we can go down below and put the belt on. Same as we took it off, we're going to put the belt over the top of the idler pulley and then use that and pull it towards the center of the dryer and loop the belt underneath the motor pulley. Once you have it on there, you can release the idler so it puts tension on the belt. Now that we have the belt in place, we can put the access cover back on and use our Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in. Now we can put the front panel on. First thing we're going to do is line up the blower housing seal down there and then push it up so the retaining clips lock it in place. Once you have the lower retainer started, you're going to have to reach in and lift up on the drum so you can push the panel in the rest of the way. Now that we have the panel mounted, we can put in all the screws and reconnect the wire harnesses. Now we can put the screws in at the bottom. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver and put in the two lower screws. Now we can replace the two upper screws that go on the inside of the cabinet. There's one on each side right above the clips. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver again. Again, you want to make sure you're careful with these screws. Use a magnetic tip if you have. Otherwise, if you drop it down there, you're going to have to go fishing for it. Now we can put the 4 screws that go across the top in. All you have to do is line up the holes and tighten them down. Now that we have all the screws in, we can reattach the wire harnesses. First thing we're going to do is feed them through this zip tie that we took them out of earlier. Once you have them both through, we can grab the other ends and match them up and slide them together. There's only one way they can go, so you can't mix them up. All you have to do is press them together so they get a good connection and lock together. Now that we have the wires reconnected up top, we can put the access panel back on. All you have to do is line these pins up with the holes and lift it up into place. And then we can use a Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in. Now that we have the access panel back in place, we can put the top of the dryer on. To put the top back on, you want to very carefully set it down so that the front of it goes right in that groove. and that the little notches are lined up with the tabs on the control panel. And then you can push it forward. With the top in place, we can use our Phillips screwdriver to put in the 2 screws that hold it in place. Now that we have the dryer put back together, we can plug it back in and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.